ceremony. She showed Keith Raniere that no matter what, it doesn't matter if the federal agents are after you, we are committed to you, we're committed to DOS, and we're going to show that commitment in a recommitment ceremony that will feature group sex, which Lauren Soldman mentioned multiple times in her testimony that she was not comfortable with. It was something that was kind of sprung up on her by another slave, and she felt like she didn't have a choice but to give in because everyone else made it seem like it was her problem and not a problem in itself.
Yeah, some of this testimony is really the stuff that movies are made of. So they're there preparing for this recommitment ceremony when another slave comes in and yells, "The police are here, the police are here." And Lauren Salzman, for as uncomfortable as she was in a lot of stuff, she was still sold on this whole thing. She said her first inclination was to protect Keith. And what was the first thing that he did when the police came knocking?
He went running into a walk-in closet. It was pretty astonishing to see her recount this story and Keith just glaring at her across the courtroom, making him sound like the biggest wimp in the whole world. Her first instinct was to barricade herself in the master suite with Keith, and his first instinct was to not climb out the window and try to escape, but to hide in a walk-in closet and make her deal with the federal authorities, who she mentioned had multiple machine guns, ended up kicking down the door, hitting her on the floor, and he just wouldn't come out until she called his name and said that she needed him to come out now. He eventually did. But it's pretty astonishing. Someone who talks about men empowerment and basically enslaved women for over a decade, his first instinct was to have a woman protected.
You're listening to the Daily Dive Weekend Edition. I'm Oscar Ramirez, and we'll be right back with more.
This is a Fox 13 weather update. This is Fox 13 meteorologist Patrick Reed. Another unseasonably warm evening across the Mid-South. Overnight lows falling to the lower 70s with lots of sunshine in the forecast for your Sunday. Daytime highs warming to the lower 90s with heat indices at 95. We're tracking higher heat indices in extended forecast to find out how warm things will feel. Tune into Good Morning Memphis starting at 6.
Welcome back to the Daily Dive Weekend Edition. This whole NXIVM group started off as like a self-help group type of thing, and that was the outside face of this. And behind all of this was this weird sex cult, master-slave relationships that Keith Raniere had with all these women. And it was like a pyramid scheme. I mean, Lauren, at some point, she said she had about 22 slaves under her. So she was very complicit in a lot of the things that were happening. Tell us a little bit about her involvement and how she got branded when she got into the DOS group, and then how she got other people in there, because there was like 5 different stages of initiation for this.
Her mother actually brought her into NXIVM when she became the co-founder when Lauren was 21 years old, and her relationship with Keith went from being mentor to boyfriend about 6 years into her process at NXIVM. And when in 2015, when Keith Raniere began talking about this secret society, sorority as he called it, Lauren was one of the first 8 women that were inducted into this ceremony. And the way that DOS worked, which is very sneaky, is they would ask women for collateral to hear this great new organization that they started up at NXIVM. They would give them collateral being a naked photo, a letter saying that they committed a crime, a letter bashing their family, anything that would have incentive to follow through with whatever they said they were going to do, because the consequences of this collateral would be far worse. So then after that would happen, they would tell them the project, the Master Slave Program, which don't really make any sense to me now, and I think Lauren, when she was explaining it, really understood the inconsistencies of having a Master Slave Women's Organization, but she was one of the first members, so she's technically a first-line slave, and she's a first-line slave with Smallville actress Allison Mack, Battlestar Galactica actress Nikki Klein, and a couple others that are going to be huge factors of this trial. And she got branded. So the branding aspect was more Keith Raniere's way of putting his stamp on DOS without having a forward front face of DOS. He's technically the Grand Master, meaning that he is the #1 master, and then from him, he is the first-line slave, and then from them, again, another beautiful pyramid scheme.
The psychological component that was going on with all these people. One of Ms. Salzman's other tasks was to edit the teachings of Raniere, kind of like his manifesto, talking about how the best slaves derive the highest pleasure from being their master's ultimate tool. It's just incredible, all the things that were going on. You've been in the court there, you've put eyes on him. What's his reaction throughout this whole process?
You know, it's been interesting. I feel like he has been glaring a lot at Lauren Salzman, who was somebody that he has a more than a decade-long relationship with. You can tell she's very flustered by it. He is flanked by lawyers on both sides, only speaks to them, but has been very open about the fact that he is not happy that Lauren's talking.
Pilar Melendez, reporter for the Daily Beast. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
The biggest political story of the week is the fight between President Trump and House Democrats. Nothing is getting done right now. There was supposed to be a meeting on infrastructure. It ended up with a press conference in the Rose Garden where the president said he was not going to work with Democrats until they stop investigating him. We spoke to Daniel Littman, reporter for Politico, for more on this big walkout by the president.
Democrats should have known that they were walking into this setup, given that no Republicans were invited, and they had prepared a podium in, I believe it was